Hello, Aries. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. All right, Aries, why does it not surprise me that you just have to top everybody else? After the week that I've had with these readings and you being the last one that I'm doing, and you pulling death from the oracle cards, but then not only that, but really with the 13s, come on now. I'm telling you right now, your reading better be like easy peasy, boring, good to go. And no Ace of Wands, damn it. So, from Shadows and Light, you pulled I Am Kali. From Death comes Rebirth. And then from E, Entangled. Now, really though, this is synchronicity at its best. But this is something that you've been avoiding though with Kali. It's saying that you may have been avoiding like a major ending or a major change that you need to make. But because of like coincidence, it happens, but it's leading you to something really big and better. Now, Entangled, again, you got the synchronicity and the coincidence showing up. It says, you would probably call what's about to happen synchronicity or maybe even coincidence. You are already connected to everything and everyone. Quantum physics has its own name for it, entanglement. The reason it appears that all ducks are lining up on your behalf right now is because you're finally paying attention. Let the games begin. Yeah, I don't know about that, Aries. All right, Aries. Here's your overall for the week. Oof. When we're talking about you avoiding something, with this being the overall, absolutely makes sense. With the Eight of Cups, and I know that I've said this many times before, but to me, this is harder to deal with than like the Ten of Swords, because at least there it's over. But here, there's a question of whether or not you're actually walking away from something that is not making you happy anymore. But that's not that easy to do. Anybody can tell you need to walk away from this shit, but, sometimes, like I've said before, you just need to stay with it until you figure it out. And the reason why it's not that easy is because, normally here you see the moon in the background, right? There is fear of, what is going to happen? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? It's like not really knowing. But clearly here, you're having to deal with something that's not bringing you any kind of fulfillment at all. Oh my God. Aries? What the fuck? Oh my goodness. Do I even need to say anything about it? It makes sense that it's in the past, right? You still haven't done anything with it, so help me God if I see the Page of Pentacles. Aries, come on now. Very simply, just with the two, if you want that, you're going to have to walk away from something. But Jesus Christ, with that Ace of Wands. It makes me wonder if I pulled out all of my other decks, if that would be the same card popping up. It probably would. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. In the present moment, the Ten of Cups. If you make the most of this, you're going to move to a place where you have absolute happiness. But for some of you, you're just not there yet. It's like you're not there yet. And what I worry about is that as long as you continue to do this, it's going to like prevent this from happening. It's almost like seeing it in the reverse. But with the Ace of Wands above it, though, that's the thing. This is what's going to put it back up. Because I'm telling you, I'm seeing that as like not happening right now, but I'm waiting to see what's happening in your environment. But with the Ten of Cups, the happily ever after. This is about your total and complete happiness. But right now, you're spending too much time with something that's not going to bring that to you. But like I said, I hope that you're doing this now. Oh boy. All right. Aries, what are you doing? Oh my goodness. What it looks like to me is you have an opportunity here, but yet you're still trying to figure this out. So instead of actually dealing with one or the other, you're doing both. and you're like delaying your total happiness here. But now for some of you, right, this could be about like family situations. You may have like two different things going on that you're needing to figure out. And I wonder with the Eight of Cups, if you're like not wanting to be involved in it anymore, like you may get dragged in. But still, with that damn Ace of Wands, you know, it's like, it seems like there are all these things that are happening that are preventing this for you. But yet it's still there. Your best path to follow the Hierophant. Now, if we're talking about like, I don't feel like it has to do with you conforming, because that and Aries just does not go together at all. With the Hierophant, right, like a commitment, needing to make a commitment here, needing to look at where your commitments are, right? Spiritual growth with the Hierophant. Maybe needing to get yourself a little bit more grounded. Like I see like, you know, planting the roots here, you know, more stable. You know, and with the Eight of Cups being the overall, again, if we're talking about a commitment, whether it's as far as a relationship or work, it's like really where are you placing your commitment right now? Because these two are so opposing, and here you are still trying to figure it out. But like, I want to, when I look at the Hierophant, especially for this one, I immediately want to go like this, like, you know, and do the Om. Like feeling better, feeling more spiritually grounded, you know, sticking with traditions that work for you and not somebody else, you know, doing what you know is going to work for you. But like needing to make a bigger commitment, you know, and that may have to do with a family situation though too. Oh boy. In your environment, the King of Swords. Now, for some of you, yeah, you know, when I see a court card in the environment, more times than not, we're talking about a person that you're dealing with. And with the King of Swords, you get to be talking about an air sign. And it's tied to your overall happiness. Now, if this is about you, this is really about you thinking clearly and thinking logically and like almost getting into like this state of contemplating here on how to make this happen. You know, but again, with this being in the environment and then looking at the Ten of Cups, this may be a situation that you just need to stop. Like you need to stop dealing with, you know, and you may be like trying to think it through. But my problem is you just end up here with the Two of Pentacles where you're still like juggling all this shit out and like trying to still figure it out, you know, but like I said, the way that I'm seeing it coming down this way, I mean, you still have your Ace of Wands. But this is stuck right in the middle, and then you have this. So if you are dealing with a person here, it's like blocking this and blocking that overall happiness. But it may not be like an easy situation to deal with, especially if we're talking about family, you know, or a relationship. But like I said, what bothers me is if we're talking about you, you just end up in a really like fucked up spot. Your hopes and your fears, the Ten of Wands, oh boy. You know, and what bothers me about this is you would think that you would automatically feel that way with the Eight of Cups being the overall. If you're continuously feeding into something, it should already be weighing you down. But is it, you know, walking away from this is just too much. Like there's too much that's going to be laid on you if you don't continue to do this. Like the other alternative is just too much to deal with. Now, you know, the other thing though too is you may be like taking on way too much where somebody else should be lightening the load for you. You know, but the weight of everything on you right now and feeling weighed down. And like trying to see clearly how to get past that and be in a place where you're happy. But, you know, again, we go right back to that damn Eight of Cups. You know? Oh, now, you see, now I feel bad. Because, I mean, you know, and going back to the Oracle cards here, you know, I don't know. I'm hoping that that Ace of Wands is like enough of a kick in the ass for some of you to stop doing something that's not making you happy anymore. And instead of like avoiding it, you actually go through like the change. Oh My God, what the fuck is that about? The devil? Why? Why? And I don't feel like this has anything to do with you doing things that are not healthy. I think it's more so that you feel like you're trapped in an unhealthy situation because you can't figure it out. Oh man, the devil, right? It's the shit that has power over us. It's not healthy, but a lot of times we stay with it because it's what we know. I'm hoping that this has to do with you finally getting away from whatever is like stripping you and like weighing you down and feeling like overwhelmed. And I mean, it's just heavy. It's so heavy all the way through here. Now with the star, right, we're talking about hope and healing, emotional balance, but your hopes and your desires on like a really big scale here. And then you have the hermit where it's like, and again, like I've been saying this consistently, with the hermit in his lantern is the star. Going back and looking at what you actually wanted. And right now it's like you're trying to figure out how to get to this overall happiness. Now, I do think that you are going to have to take a break. Like, seriously. I think that you're going to be forced to remove yourself from a difficult situation. And with the Four of Swords, you may actually have to, like, cut off communication. I almost see, like, just like I'm seeing the Ten of Cups in reverse, I'm seeing that Devil in reverse, too, with the clarifiers here. The problem is I feel like for some of you, you don't have a choice but to deal with these two different situations. I don't think it's that easy for you to get out of it, but man, that's big. I mean, that's big. But I think you get to a point where like you just need to take some time for yourself to think about things. So that, you don't feel like what you're doing isn't like making you happy anymore. And really like needing to get to a place where I think that you feel a little bit more grounded. And like I said, for some of you, you could be dealing with a family situation. You may be dealing with a person in your environment that's like dropping their shit on you, which is definitely a possibility. But like, I don't see you wanting to actually give up on something. And I almost wonder if it isn't like needing to get back to a place where you actually feel good about what you're doing here, instead of looking at it and like dreading it or feeling like it's not really giving you what you want anymore. Because again, you still have that fucking Ace of Wands coming through. Oh, Aries. I would say, with the Devil coming out, it's really about you needing to get back to a place of healing. And that may mean that you need to take some time just to think about what you really want to do. And get back to a place where you actually love what you're doing, or get to a place where you actually walk away and start moving toward what is going to make you happy with that Ace of Wands. Wow. All right, now I feel bad. Let's take a look at your love lives. I have a statue of Kali sitting right there on my bookshelf, right in front of me. I mean, yeah, of course, for me, I'm going to have symbols of death everywhere. But, you can't have life without destruction, right? But you can't avoid changes, though, either. But, like, I still feel like something's happening in a way that's going to, like, everything will just, like, click. And then maybe, if we're talking about you in terms of relationships, when you're looking at the King of Pentacles, right? Like, it's stable, it's secure. But the thing is, with this deck, he's pushy, he's, like, dominant. And it may be that you need to be a little bit more romantic. That, or it's like you're needing to be more romantic with your partner, even though they may be like pushy, and a little bit like domineering. But I don't see him as a bad thing. Singles, what the hell? Now, when you're looking at the Page of Swords here, this is the stalker. And I worry that you may have gotten out of a codependent relationship, but like somebody is stalking you. That, or it's you, them. But I don't know. Because of the reading, right, like, I feel more so that this has to do with somebody on the outside that's like, trying to get to you. But I don't feel like it's welcome. because of the codependency thing. Like, you may literally be dealing with a stalker. Aries, why? Why? And like I said, I'm really hoping here that that devil is actually in reverse. I mean, with the star and the hermit being there, I think so. I just think that some of you need to get back to a place where you're either walking away from what is not making you happy or getting to a place where you feel better about what you're investing so much into. All right, Aries. So shit happens, and it happens for a reason, right? And ever since I came back, that Ace of Wands, no matter how many times I change my deck, like I said before, I can't make this shit up. Like, seriously. And with the 13s happening here, you're going to hit like a really major ending. And I don't think that you can avoid it anymore. But the thing is like, it's happening for a reason with entanglement, right? Eventually you're going to get to a spot where everything just kind of falls into place. It has to. I mean, again, with that Ace of Wands continuously showing up. Now, with the Eight of Wands, or the Eight of Wands, the Eight of Cups being the overall, yeah, there is something that you're feeding into that I don't think is, like, making you happy anymore. And it's like, it's affecting your overall happiness, but this could also have to do with somebody in your environment. And for singles, let me just tell you right now, I'm a little bit worried about that. Now, the King of Swords could definitely be you trying to figure out how to get here and how to make the most of the Ace of Wands. I mean, I don't even want to see it anymore. My problem is you move into this place where you're still trying to figure some things out. And that's okay. But with the devil being there, and it's no wonder why the Hierophant is your best bet to follow. I mean, really needing to get to a place where you feel better. Like, I feel like not so much like the sun, but needing to get like more grounded and spiritually grounded, right? But then also when we're talking about commitments that you've made, if you're not happy in one, then, maybe there is a need for you to look at that, where you're placing your commitments. Especially if you have somebody in your environment that just keeps like dropping shit on you, which is a possibility. But then the other thing that I feel like with the Ten of Wands is, the idea of walking away from a situation that isn't making you happy. It's too much. There's too much with it. Like, it's too overwhelming to think about, which is why you end up in this place here with the Two of Pentacles where you just can't drop it. I mean, like, you can't yet. But it's like, you know that it's not good for you with the devil being there. And like I said, I don't think this has to do with your bad patterns or bad behavior or anything like that. I really do think that this is a situation that I think some of you feel like you're stuck in. Now, again, with the Star and the Hermit, that's what it's about. You going back and looking at what your actual hopes and desires were. And this is on a big scale here. And it's funny because I think I've only seen the Nine of Cups once. The Star has been persistent this week. Everybody is looking at their hopes and their desires for this lifetime on a big scale, like a really big scale, and that's what you're doing. And I do think that some of you just need to take a time out. And it's not that you need to go into isolation. It's just taking a break to get some clarity because, like I said, if we're talking about you here, I think you're trying to do this. But I think that logic may be telling you that you need to continue to try to balance this situation out, even though it's affecting the overall happiness. I mean, it bugs me. And now I feel bad because I thought I was going to see some crazy shit. But man, some of you really are feeling like, and weighed down by something. And like I said, it could have to do with family, with the Ten of Cups being there. I'm telling you, this has got to be the last time here. It's got to be the last time. This needs to be, like, it just needs to not show up again, okay? We need to just see the Ten of Cups, the Nine of Cups, the Star, and everything great happening for you guys. But like I said, I think that some of you are avoiding needing to go through a change or needing a situation to end. But like I said, just give yourself a minute to think about things, especially the things that you feel like are stripping you of that hope. Relationships. For those of you who are single, codependency and the Page of Swords, you may have a stalker. You may have somebody that's trying to invade your space right now. And I think that some of you have been trying to get out of a codependent relationship, or, you may feel like you're stuck in one right now. But, like, the other thing, though, too, is, with codependency, I worry about you, like, attracting this and, like, needing to get away from it. But like I said, I do think, and this is not going to be for all of you, but I do think that you have a stalker in your space right now. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, it's not bad. Romantic feelings, and then you have the King of Pentacles. I see him as stable. He may be a little bit dominant, a little bit pushy, but, if this is you, then you need to be a little bit more romantic. But, like, I don't see it as a bad thing. But damn it, Aries, really it's about clearing up all that negative shit in a really big way for you right now and get back to a place where you can actually see this happening for you. Because I see it. Like, seriously, there's no reason why you can't have that new passionate beginning. It's still there for you, and I don't think it's ever going to stop being there for you no matter what happens. And yeah, I do say that aces are great when they come through, but they don't mean shit unless you actually act toward it. But, sometimes you have shit in your path and it stops you from getting to that. And I don't think that Ace of Wands is going to leave you until all of this is cleared up. But like I said, synchronicity, coincidences, it may be time now for all of these things to end so that you can have your own rebirth and get to that damn Ace of Wands.